sheeple, lazy and evil. For years I've watched y'all allow Donald Trump turn you to crazy people. Where's that freedom eagle when you...
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about AEW Rampage from March the 4th, 2022. We're also going to do some news and notes, and probably this is going to be funny. Because Keith Lee, the number one note that we're going to talk about, went on Talk is Jericho, which of course he did. And everybody who leaves WWE goes to Talk is Jericho to complain and to, this is what happened. Why I ended up leaving. And Keith Lee, who markets himself as being limitless, the guy who can do anything, he failed in WWE because he couldn't project intensity. It's the silliest thing I've ever... Matter of fact, let's just read it. It is so silly. It is so ridiculous. Now, this comes from this is going to be a Fightful transcript. Part of it, now, a lot of people have said the focus should be on Vince McMahon saying that he sounds too smart for his own good. The greetings and salutations, gentlemen. That sort of Michael Eric Dyson bloviating voice. That's just how he talks, I guess. My choice of diction was apparently not welcome in the World Wrestling Entertainment offices. Therefore, they offered me my release from my contractual obligations. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? So should I read the transcript in my Keith Lee voice? Should I read my raise your hand if I should read this transcript in my Keith Lee voice. All right. The ayes have it. What happened is, when I was about to come back, they hit me with the vision for the Bearcat thing. During that time, I was like, I don't understand what that is. I'm not sure I'm feeling that. They brought me back as myself, and then my first match, lost to Bobby Lashley. Second match, lost to Karrion Kross. In the middle of the show, Vince pulls me to the room and wants to talk. Vince doesn't leave the show. Middle of Raw, semi and main event coming up, and he's like, let's go chat. You're the guy on the headphones. What are you doing? It was in the middle of conversation that he was basically like, I need you to do this, and I need you to do this. I work for you. If that's what you want, that's what we're going to do. The weird thing, you mentioned the way I thought I speak, my cadence, the way I seem thoughtful about how I deliver things, my choice of diction. All of those things were something that Vince was not a fan of, to the point where he literally told me, you sound too smart for your own good. I don't understand what that means. He wanted something more grimy. I don't think I delivered that for him. He wanted some intense guy, and I think I can be intense, but I need a reason to be intense. It's easy for me to flip a switch. If it doesn't make sense, it's hard for me to do that. I tried. I don't think I'm very good at it, and that's something that facilitated that. I'm not a big, angry, grunting, yelling guy. I'm not that until someone makes me. So, the long and the short of it, he didn't understand. He didn't understand Bearcat, and he couldn't be intense on his own. So, because he couldn't be intense on his own, he couldn't figure out Bearcat, they just gave up on him, essentially. He gave up on them, they gave up on him. Here's the thing, dog. This is fucking hilarious. I think now that they gave him the Bearcat gimmick because they wanted to make him mad. That's my conspiracy theory. That they saw this big motherfucker and they said, we want you to be intense, we want you to be mad, we want you to be this big, violent guy. He was like, but Mr. McMahon, how could you ask me to be that way? Seems very stereotypical of you to be trying to make me an angry black man. I don't appreciate that. That's not who I am, sir. And Vince is just kind of like, fuck, what the hell? You're a giant. What the fuck are you doing? Just go in there and kill that guy. Watch a Goldberg match. That's all Keith Lee had to do. Watch a fucking Goldberg match. Watch 2 of them, and you could have figured out what the fuck they wanted you to do. Why would you do this interview? Now, the only reason you would do an interview like this is if you are assured that no matter what came out of your mouth, people are going to say you were absolutely correct and you did nothing wrong. That's the only way you would go on an interview and tell people, I can't be intense. Like, what the fuck? I thought you were limitless. Limitless. That's your whole gimmick. Now you telling people I can't do this. Oh, this is something I can't do. I can't be mad. You have to fucking pretend. You're playing pretend, you dumbass. What are you doing? Don't go out there and tell it. And then, even if that was the case, you still don't go out there and tell everybody. Now, the Bearcat thing, I thought it was his idea, to be quite honest, to find out that it was a character he was given. And to me, it sounds like, they gave him the Bearcat because he was flopping doing anything else they asked him to do. So, all you had to do was watch a Goldberg match. As he was explaining they didn't want him interacting with the crowd or anything like that, I said they wanted him to be Bill Goldberg. Because when you watch WCW, Bill Goldberg would walk to the ring. He didn't slap any hands. He didn't really even do too much of the roaring. He would hit a big move and then roar, But Goldberg would stare his opponent down, mean face, mean mug, directly on him, intense, staring down his opponent, blasting his opponent with big attacks, stuff like that. Goldberg didn't play to the crowd. He fought his opponent. That's basically what they wanted him to do. And this is where you can see that there's a difference between pro wrestlers and athletes. A lot of athletes understand the zone that Vince wanted Keith Lee to get into. And you can't tell me Keith Lee didn't play football or basketball or something. He's a giant dude. I'm pretty sure he played football. But he probably didn't play that long or, get that deep into it. Because anybody who really played any real football would have envisioned that into their head as Vince is telling them what he wants him to do. He's making it sound like Vince told him to build a fucking Eiffel Tower. He's telling you to be angry and to steamroll your opponent. I can't do that. I need a reason to be like, fuck, come on. What the fuck? You're almost 40. Go for it. What the fuck are you doing? This is, you're on the one, you're big. They're pushing black guys now. They let you in the company after not signing you three or four different times after they saw you. You're on the 10-yard line. It's a weak roster where, a lot of top guys are hurt or gone. You could have easily slotted into that spot. All you had to do was follow fucking directions. All you had to do was try. He's like, I tried. I just couldn't do it. I'm like, what the fuck are you then? If you're not intense, and I've seen Keith Lee be intense and be angry and stuff like that on NXT. Now, he looked a little bit cooler because he had his beard. Now, when they make him shave his beard, that was a problem. But it seems really weird to me that would be his go-to, is that they wanted me to be something I wasn't, which was intense. And I was like, oh, God. They gave you the Bearcat thing because they was fucking with you at that point. They was like, maybe if we told him to go be the Bearcat, he'll actually be mad and we can get what we need out of this fucking guy. And then the Bearcat thing just came across as him playing a character. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. It's another situation where Vince is proved right. This fucking guy. He just doesn't have the right mindset. I don't know. And I think it makes it easier, too, that he doesn't have to cooperate because it's like, what are you going to do? Fire me? And it's like, yeah, we'll fire you. And he's like, well, I'll just go to AEW. And that's exactly what happened. So it's like, why play along? Why keep going? Half-ass it and then get fired. You collected some paychecks for a little while. You go do whatever you want in AEW, So this was absolutely silly. This was silly, You sound too smart for your own good means that his voice doesn't fit the character, which is what everybody says. Everybody talks about the disconnect between how Keith Lee looks and how Keith Lee talks. Now, you could have built his character around how he talks, which is what I would have done, So I'm not saying that's 100% Keith Lee's problem. Is that he couldn't perform what Vince wanted him to do. He could have come to Vince and said, how about we work that into my character? How I speak, we work that into my character. There's plenty of big, well-spoken guys in movies and stuff like that. Find one. I saw a random dude on Twitter say you could have booked them a lot like the Kingpin from Daredevil. And I was like, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. If somebody was thinking, they could have said that, like, he is very well spoken. Put him in a suit and have him be like a mob boss or something like that. And that would have worked. That would have been great. But clearly nobody was thinking about that. Even Keith Lee wasn't thinking about that. I just want to be Keith Lee. I just want to be myself. It's like, are you interesting enough to just go out there and be yourself? I don't know if that's the case. In any event, it doesn't matter whether he's good at being himself or not. Vince obviously had an idea for something that he wanted from this guy. And all he had to do was be intense, and he couldn't do it. Now, maybe attacking how he speaks, again, his voice was very unique, and I think that's actually a draw, is how he talks. But I think people would eventually, and the people are going to eventually just make fun of how he talks, which they do all the time. And they've made fun of how he talks twice in AEW already, and he's only been there for 3 fucking weeks. So obviously how he talks is a problem. Everybody's making fun of it. Everybody's fucking with him about it. So clearly it's something unique, obviously, but where it doesn't fit the look. And they wanted something that fitted the look a little bit more. And then you could have, unfurled your vocabulary and diction and all that stuff. Later on, characters grow and change over time. So I don't get this. This was silly to me. But I thought it was funny. So that's next. The next note is Chavo Guerrero got fired from AEW. And he was not happy about that. He wasn't happy about that at all. So when the news broke that Chavo had been removed from the roster page, Chavo said, "That's news to me. I guess having Tony Khan telling me to go film Young Rock Season 2 and my job will be waiting for me when I'm done didn't mean much." Then another article came out that Tony Khan still has not spoken to Chavo Guerrero. And Chavo Guerrero did delete this tweet eventually. So he added Tony Khan on Twitter, and he added the AEW main roster page. And I guess he screwed up, even if it was an accident. Tony Khan does not like being called out on Twitter. He doesn't like that at all. So Chavo Guerrero probably screwed himself out of the job. And, he didn't really serve much of a purpose anyway. And I don't think he was going to do much of anything outside of be a hanger-on for Andrade. And it would have been an easy gig, but he ain't been on TV in weeks already. I mean, he's been off TV over a month already. And this whole thing where, oh, my job will be waiting for me. It's like, yeah, sure. And you believe that? And you believe that? You the fool. You boo-boo the fool. All right, so last note before we go into Rampage is that I see that AEW had its first $1 million gate for Double or Nothing May the 29th. In Las Vegas, they sold 14,000 seats. The lower bowl is completely full. And this is pretty interesting for AEW. A $1 million gate on a single day one. So this is not bad. This is pretty good for them. Now, I know there's probably inflation, because everything costs more now than it used to, even more than a couple of years ago. But it still doesn't diminish their achievement. I think they did very well. Selling a show without even announcing a single match, very good. Selling 14,000 seats without selling a single match, you did a good job. Can't hate that. The only issue I would have is that when Dave Meltzer, after AEW announced it, Dave Meltzer went on Twitter, of course, and decided to give people a little bit of history on the $1 million gate. And Dave Meltzer says, AEW just hit the $1 million mark in ticket sales for Double or Nothing on day one. WWE has done this before many times. Aside from WWE, no wrestling company did this as quickly, and only New Japan / ROH ever hit the number in the US, aside from the WWE. Somebody says that the day one distinction, so obviously other companies have had $1 million gates, just not as fast. And Meltzer says only one, a 2019 New Japan Ring of Honor show in Madison Square Garden. AEW previously has never topped the $1 million, nor has any other pro wrestling company in the U.S. other than WWE. Today's update on the site goes into this. So this immediately goes into the history of it. And Dave Meltzer says Capital Wrestling started in the 1950s. The first time was in 1986, but the number $1 million meant very different at that time. But adjusted for inflation, the first $1 million gate would have been in 1976 for Ali and Inoki and Bruno and Hansen. Bruno and Hansen was in Shea Stadium, I believe. Was it Shea Stadium? Oh, I don't know. It was in New York. I'm pretty sure about that. In 1986, that was Orndorff and Hogan. I think that was the big event in Toronto. I think. I might be wrong, but it was Orndorff and Hogan. He said that on Twitter. And when he said that, I remembered it. So they did very well as far as selling a show very quickly. Of course, once he said no other promotion had done that, however, it became instantly a what about WCW? And Bischoff got added into this thing. And Bischoff announced that their highest gate was $906,000. Adjusted for inflation, it would be $1.5 million today. But they never got to $1 million, and that was for Goldberg versus Hogan in the Dome. And a lot of people say, okay, well, it was obviously because of inflation, it wasn't going to reach $1 million. So I think that's obviously where Bischoff was going by saying if you adjust for inflation, we did have over $1 million gate. We had $1.5 million, but I don't think they're adjusting for inflation. I don't think they're doing that. But hell of an achievement for AEW. They're on a roll in their markets that they hit pretty often. Chicago, New York, and Las Vegas. They really do well in those markets. And no wonder they go there continuously. Let's just hope that when Double or Nothing actually comes around, it's not tons of empty seats. Every time you hear about AEW breaking some type of attendance record or something like that, you still see empty seats and all that kind of shit. Let's go to almost 20 minutes in to Rampage. All right. We got our spot fest to open the show. Andrade El Idolo versus Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. Sammy Guevara pins Andrade El Idolo after the go to hell was, I think Darby threw him outside the ring. Then did the coffin drop, which was silly. He should have just pinned him. And then Sammy did a top rope thing to break up that pin and pinned Andrade. There was a lot of spots in there. I'm about to say a lot of crap, but a lot of spots. Andrade looked very good in this match. It's the first time he really looked awesome in AEW. I know he's had good matches before, but he looked good here. And he really played in very well here with the two baby faces. It was okay. Very fun. Fast-paced match. There was it's a triple threat match, so I naturally don't like it. But it was tons of spots and what people think a triple threat match is, which is guys jumping all over the place. And Sammy Guevara, that's what he does. He does acrobatics. I don't care for Sammy Guevara. I really don't. So I'm not going to pretend to be unbiased when it comes to Sammy Guevara. I go into Sammy Guevara matches not liking him, because he's boring. And this is all he can do is fucking jumps and flips and shit, But I knew he was going to win, and he did win. I did like the post-match, though. Because they're going to be partners on Sunday, Sammy went over to shake Darby Allin's hand, but Darby would not shake his hand. Instead, he walked away. All right, fine. That's cool. Alex Abrahantes was in the ring talking on behalf of the Penta Oscuro and the Death Triangle. So he said the House of Black won. The House of Black always wins, but the house only wins with deception. And that we may be down one Lucha Bro, but it's still going to be 3-on-3. So the House of Black came out there and said that it's honorable for Alex to sacrifice himself to the House of Black. And Alex says, well, I did say it was going to be 3-on-3, but I didn't say it was going to be me. And Eric Rowan came down to be the third man in this match. Redbeard, chased off the heels and beat up all the security guys. He got a pretty good reaction. It was a nice surprise. And for a guy who hadn't been on the roster since the Brody Lee tribute show, I'm guessing he was in some way involved with Malachi Black on Raw. Yeah, because he had the spider in the cage and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was absolutely silly. I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did, but I thought it was silly. They should have just got a real spider, for Christ's sake. They got a fucking mechanical spider. Come on. Um, he's just there to fill up a spot because Phoenix is hurt, and they want a big guy to counteract the big guy on the other team. So it's like you need to have a counteractor to Brody King being the giant on the other team. So it makes sense that you would bring in somebody big. And of course, you would bring in somebody who is used to doing the supernatural gimmicks. So, okay, I'll accept this one. I don't think he's going to be there very long. I don't think he's going to be all elite. I think he's just going to slide in, get this nice little paycheck, probably be there for a couple of weeks and then bounce, you know. But I'm really surprised it took them so long to tap into the whole Eric Redbeard thing. Usually I thought they would have used him by now. But they tried to make him look like a monster from the beginning. So he's going to end up in the Lance Archer position pretty quickly. All right. So Dan Lambert said he negotiated with this piece of shit, Tony Khan, his shitty company, and said that the deal was that Scorpio Sky would get his title shot on Wednesday for the TNT title. In exchange, AEW will get Paige Van Zant, who will sign an AEW contract at Revolution. Clearly, she was supposed to be wrestling Brandy on this show. Now they've changed it to she's going to sign her contract live on this show. I'm guessing she's going to be built up to be Britt Baker's next opponent. I'm guessing that's what they're going to do. Paige Van Zant is basically just does pictures and stuff now. She basically models. I don't think she even fights anymore. Does she? She doesn't fight anymore. You know, she basically does OnlyFans, butt shots and stuff like that now. And she's hot. I mean, she really is. I think she's probably more likable than Ronda Rousey. But we're in a position where, like I said, Tony Khan is just like, I got to have my own MMA fighter girl. Because Vince has one, I got to have one. You know, so it's like Vince has a developmental, I need to have one too. He's got a library and all that stuff. I need to have one too. It's like, but without seeing her, it's hard to say whether she's going to suck or not. I don't know what her talent and skill level is as far as training for pro wrestling. Hopefully she's been doing it for a while, because as an MMA fighter with some level of success, I guess some level of success, you would have to think they were going to push her, especially since they put in her with Lambert. So maybe I always kind of figured they was going to have, whatever the next opponent for Britt Baker is going to be is going to make an appearance on this show. And I think it was going to be Ember Moon, or AKA Athena. But it could be, building to Paige Van Zant. So whatever. It is what it is. I don't see it as being that big of a deal. Keith Lee defeated JD Drake. This match was entirely too fucking long. I don't understand why, Keith Lee is supposed to be like this big monster. I know he's not really a big monster guy. He's more of a small guy in a big guy's body. But he beat JD Drake and actually took a moonsault from the guy and everything. It's like, oh, come on. He's not even supposed to put you in position to do a moonsault. Anyway, the wingman jumped Keith Lee after the match. He beat them all up. Team Taz teased jumping Lee, but they backed down because Keith Lee is a monster, supposedly. So that was that. Team Taz threatened to do bad things to Keith Lee, but when it came down to it, they kind of backed off. All right, whatever. Eddie Kingston and CM Punk cut great promos. Let's talk about this. Let's do CM Punk's first. So CM Punk, this is a promo that was recorded after Dynamite. He says that, you look at me and you can tell I feel very alive. And he says, you want to find out that CM Punk is the real master. He says, you want that guy you grew up watching. You're not ready for him. And then he starts talking about how he's going to take parts of MJF. He's going to leave parts of MJF in Orlando. So he's going to become the monster to fight the monsters of this world. He's CM Punk, and he's better than you. And, okay. I like this. I like the intensity of it, the bloody face, him talking to the camera directly. They're right here in his face, getting real close up in the shot. Really good stuff. I like the promo. It's intense. And it made sense. I just hate that it was so late into the feud. That's the one thing I have to say is this feels so late into the feud to do all of this. A lot of people think, CM Punk's about to turn heel. It's like, he's pissed off because a guy fucking beat him up and strangled him. Not every time a babyface gets mad, he's not turning heel. For fuck's sake, he's just mad. What the fuck? Eddie Kingston says that he's done talking, but he gave us some nice advice that I wish people would listen to. By saying he does, just because kayfabe is dead, he doesn't want to piss on the grave, which is what he has to say about people using insider terms on TV. And despite the fact that he looks like the Puerto Rican Brooklyn Brawler, I absolutely respect Eddie Kingston for standing up for kayfabe in this way and people not using fucking insider terms on television. It's so lowbrow. Anyway, he said that he's going to embarrass Jericho and make Jericho shake his hand, but he's done talking and he wants to go eat some cake or something like that. So I liked Eddie Kingston's promo. It's very short and to the point. I like that he, so there's not much more to be said. It was pretty short and to the point. Serena Deeb defeated Layla Gray with a front face lock in the rookie 5-minute challenge. Gray tried to run early and Deeb just chased her down, so that was funny. Hikaru Shida made her return and beat Serena Deeb with the kendo sticks after the match. So they're going to continue this feud. They've been feuding forever. So what are they going to do to end this feud? And they're going to have a bloody death match to end this feud, or I think they've already had the submission match or something like that, didn't they? Please let this be over. All right, so Jade Cargill got kicked out by Tay Conti after she called Tay Conti a bitch again and said nobody cares about her stupid goddamn karate. Mark Sterling says, I put a restraining order on Tay Conti that she couldn't touch Jade Cargill within 48 hours of the pay-per-view. So Anna Jay, she was so awful here. She had one line and was very bad at delivering it. She's like, Sterling, what time is it? And he gave the time or whatever. So it's within 48 hours of Revolution. So Tay can hit Jade Cargill, so she kicked her in the face or whatever. And Jay just kind of laid down and looked up at her instead of just kind of like being flattened or whatever. This was awful. It was awful, man. It's not doing anybody any favors. Thank God it's going to be over on Sunday. We don't have to deal with it anymore. All right, so Christian and Ethan Page had their last match for the qualifier, the Face of the Revolution. Christian wins the match with the kill switch. Ethan Page, and during the promo, says that he was the Hall of Fame worthy talent that debuted on Revolution last year, even though him and Christian debuted at the same time. And Christian says that Ethan Page's day will come, but it won't be today, and that he made the ladder match famous. And I don't know about that one. I think Christian's telling the story. After the match, Christian wins. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are celebrating with Christian. All of the heels, Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, they come out to antagonize, I guess you could say. Jungle Boy ends up jumping over the top rope onto them after they tease for like 2 or 3 minutes to do something. It was what it was. This Rampage show, it's becoming more and more like Dark. Just with a little bit higher price talent, it's coming a little bit more and more like Dark. I mean, Keith Lee's already been relegated to Rampage wrestling JD Drake in matches that are entirely too long. And why put him against somebody who's so heavy in JD Drake? That's what I want to know. Why not put him in there with another skinny guy, an Aaron Solo or something like that, so Keith Lee can go back to throwing people on the other side of the ring and pouncing guys outside the ring and looking like an absolute beast. That's a mistake. You're still trying to look. I know this audience knows him. This audience likes him already. He can wrestle a blow-up doll or a stop sign or whatever, and it'll be fine. But you never know who's watching. And if you see Keith Lee, who is the guy who's supposed to be a star, and he's struggling to beat some job guy who looks like he changes the tires at AutoZone, there's no way for people to take that seriously. If you'd have put him in there with somebody who doesn't look, who, maybe doesn't look completely like shit, but the size difference is so much that he looks like an absolute human bear, then things will look great and he'll actually get over a lot faster. But AEW doesn't care about actually building talent. They want talent to coast. This is the thing. Like, it's an easy day because you don't have to do anything. You just show up and you do what you feel like doing. And if it doesn't get over, that's cool. You get paid anyway. I mean, heaven forbid somebody actually, require you to do something. Then you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't understand it. What am I supposed to do? And then, that's it. Yeah, I don't get that. But whatever. Booker of the year, promoter of the year. Still, congratulations on the $1 million gate. I like that. I like to see the business doing good, finally. Just hope that the card is worth it. But let me know what you guys think about all of this stuff in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.